Yeah, so we got Jake Paul and we got Mike Tyson, a 30-year-old versus a 60-year-old. I don't know what to say. I think that it's been a weird day for the sport of boxing. A lot of weird drama, a lot of weird fight announcements. We got Conor Benn and Manny Pacquiao, the return of Manny. We haven't seen him in more than 2 years back in the ring against a guy like Conor Benn, who we know has been involved with a lot of controversy. Fighter at 147. I don't know what the weight would be. But we got Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is approaching and pushing 60 years old. He's 20. Jake Paul's 27. Mike Tyson's 57. So you basically got a 30-year-old versus a 60-year-old. Jake Paul is half Mike Tyson's age, but we know that the strategy for Jake Paul is to fight big names that are ultimately washed up, older fighters, but names that he can put on his resume because he wants to be taken seriously. And honestly, if Jake Paul can beat Mike Tyson, I don't care that Mike Tyson's 57. I've seen him on the pads. I've seen the pad work. Still a very dangerous fighter for Jake Paul to be, getting in the ring against. I think this is his most dangerous opponent, in my opinion. But ultimately, you got to face the facts. Look at it on paper. Jake Paul's 27. And Mike Tyson is 57. The last thing to leave a fighter is his power. But I'm just thinking about the fact that age is a thing. There's a reason why fighters retire and stay away from the sport, because their bodies don't allow them to train the way they're supposed to. They don't heal as fast. The recovery period is much longer. Boxing's way more taxing on the body when you're 60. And 50 as opposed to when you're 20 and 30. That's just the bottom line of how the sport is. There's a saying that Floyd Mayweather always says. He says that you need to retire from the sport of boxing. You don't let boxing retire you. And that's ultimately what I say when it comes to fighters like Manny Pacquiao, when it comes to guys like Mike Tyson. I get the exhibition stuff, but it seems like this is going to be a legitimate fight on Netflix. And don't get me wrong, that's a big event. That's definitely going to do some numbers because Jake Paul has his fan base, and then you have guys from the boxing world that who are inevitably going to want to see that fight, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. But it's not a legitimate Mike Tyson, if that makes sense. Obviously, you're fighting a legend in the sport, one of the scariest and the baddest dude on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson. He's accomplished a lot in the sport of boxing. He's an absolute legend, Hall of Famer. There's no that kind of stuff goes without saying, but Jake Paul's going to try to beat him up, get a win in any way that he can. I think Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson? Absolutely not. I don't think he has the IQ to. I don't think he has the ability to set it up. That's just my opinion. I think Jake Paul definitely has a right hand, but that's all he has. Like if you watch him fight, that any decent top cruiserweight smokes him, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Jake Paul has been able to beat a lot of legends in the combat sports world. Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz, Ben Askren, if you want to consider that one. But ultimately, we know that the Tyron Woodley was the biggest one that we've ever seen to beat a striker, an absolute UFC legend and Hall of Famer in Tyron Woodley. I think that's going to end up being Jake Paul's biggest accomplishment. Ultimately, he's going to step in the ring with boxing royalty in Mike Tyson. But I think that everyone's going to remember the fact that Mike Tyson is 57 years old. It is what it is. I don't know why the camera's not focusing. Let's try moving it over here. Is it focused? Let's see. All right. Well, I don't know why that's happening. Let me try moving it over here. All right, that's better. But we're just gonna keep going. But yeah, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. It's a big fight. It's a big money fight. I get why it's happening. I get why Jake Paul wants this fight, because you're ultimately the risk is a little bit lower, but I still think it's a dangerous fight. You don't just go into a fight against Mike Tyson after boxing for since 2019, so that's like around 5 years. And I think Jake Paul's actually taking a lot of risk fighting a guy like Mike Tyson, who's still dangerous even at his age, at 57 years old. Like I said before, the last thing to leave is your power. So Jake's going to have to be very strategic in there. It's a different beast. I think, Jake is in more trouble here than he is against Tommy Fury, because ultimately Tommy Fury is, he's a mediocre boxer. I think No disrespect, like it sounds disrespectful, but he's not going to be his brother. He's never going to be his brother. Ultimately, his best route is to fight guys like KSI, guys like Jake Paul, where he's going to make a lot of money, and those are very winnable fights for him. But ultimately, I don't see him becoming champion anytime soon, or ever in the sport. But here, Jake Paul has a big challenge ahead of him. And Mike Tyson, this is a legend. This is a guy that's going to come in and take your head off. I think that he's let's be honest, Mike Tyson, he's got some screws loose. So Jake Paul's gonna have to be very careful, in his approach, against Mike Tyson. You're not going in there against the guy that can't crack. Tommy Fury, ultimately, great fighter, definitely landed a lot of shots against Jake Paul, had a lot of success, ultimately beat him in a decision. But Jake Paul, could very well get knocked out in this fight. And ultimately, boxing fans, we have to face the reality that Jake Paul is a young guy. He's taking the sport seriously. He's 27 years old. He's not the best fighter in the world. I'm not saying that. But if he's able to find that right hand and land it on Mike Tyson, I don't know how good Mike Tyson's punch resistance is at 57 years old. He's basically a 60-year-old. He's an old man. Not to be disrespectful, but there is that possibility in the sport that Jake gets lucky and lands a crazy Hail Mary shot on Mike Tyson, and that could, create a lot of trouble. That could create, waves within this combat sports world if a YouTuber / Disney star is able to come into the sport of boxing, train for 45 years, take it seriously, and ultimately, beat up an all-time great in Mike Tyson. I think that's a bad look for the sport. But, we're in this time where it's more about making money than it is about, the sport being taken seriously. And that's just the way it is. That's what happens. Boxing is ultimately a business. We always talk about the big money fights happening, and Floyd Mayweather kind of paved the way for this to happen. So, in a lot of ways, it's good for fighters. It's good for Jake Paul. It's good for Mike Tyson, make millions of dollars. That's a given, but there's also that element of respect is being lost in the sport of boxing. People think it's a joke now. You see a lot of people talking about how boxing is being overtaken by the UFC. And part of it is true, because ultimately Jake Paul, there's no reason why a guy should be able to come into the sport of boxing, make millions of dollars, and then, overshadow people who are legitimately have been doing this their whole lives and haven't made a fraction of what Jake Paul is making in, one fight. So it's just the way it is. Unfortunately, Jake Paul, he's going to make a lot of money, and that's great for him. That's great for Mike Tyson. But, you can't help but think, there are people that genuinely deserve to be on this boxing stage, have been sacrificing their entire lives to, become a superstar, to get on that stage that Jake Paul is on. But, that's just the way life works sometimes. You can't complain about it. But Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, it's a mega fight. I don't know who wins this. I have to go with Mike just out of respect, but anything could happen. I think Jake finds a home for that right hand. It could be an issue, but I'll go with Mike. I'll go with Mike Tyson. But at this point, 60-year-old versus 30-year-old wouldn't surprise me no matter what happens. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, it's going down on Netflix. So let me know in the comments who you guys got. Are you guys tuning into this fight? I'll probably watch it, but do I take it as a serious fight? Am I crazy excited about it? Not really, but I'll watch it. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that post notification bell so you guys don't miss anything. We're coming at you guys with the hottest and the latest news in the sport of boxing. So we'll keep you guys posted. Thank you guys for watching. Peace. That's going to do it for another NASFight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.